All right, I think third time's the charm. I think third time's the charm. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes, let people come on in. I'm gonna talk for a few minutes about broken trust. Come on in to the live, come on in. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I'm gonna start in a couple minutes. Share this, like it. January 20th, we got a trust building and communication workshop. January 20th. Link is in the post. Make sure you click that link and go register. We only have a limited amount of slots. I'm going to be talking about trust for a few minutes. Well, broken trust. But before I get started, make sure you go register for the trust building and communication workshop for couples and married couples. January 20th, 2024. Make sure you go register ASAP. We only have a limited amount of spaces. Okay. All right. So many relationships are suffering today because the trust has been broken. Many relationships and marriages are struggling today because the trust is broken. Now, again, before I get started, go click on the link in the post that I'm live on right now. Register for the trust building and communication workshop for couples and married folk. All right, listen. Relationships are struggling today because of broken trust. Marriages are struggling today because of broken trust. Many of my clients have similar issues when it comes to trying to fix their relationship. And that is the trust has been broken. And the trust is broken for many different reasons. One of the ways that trust is broken very easily is lies and dishonesty. Now, the thing is, when you choose to stay in a relationship with someone who lies, what you're really hoping for is that this person turns it around and changes their character or their integrity or their morals or their values. Because to be in a relationship with a liar says a few things about you. It ain't really about them. It has everything to do with you. And so when trust is broken because people lie, what ends up happening is the person who's being lied to spends a lot of their time and energy trying to get the other person to become honest. And you can't just change somebody in being honest without them having the choice or deciding within themselves to become an honest person. So when that trust is broken, it's because of their lack of integrity and their lack of character. And no matter how much you try to talk to them or try to change them or convince them of how wrong they are or try to tell them how many times they need to stop lying, they're not just going to change automatically because their character and their integrity is a part of who they are. And if they lack integrity and character, then they're going to lie. So trust is broken oftentimes because people lie. Now, people lie for many different reasons, but let me stay on point. A lot of my clients have some of the same issues that string along that are connected to this main issue that breaks trust, which is lying or dishonesty. So the thing is, there's two different aspects of lying, and there's two different aspects of honesty. I'm gonna break it down like this: there's truth, and then there's honesty. So the truth is, meaning I can tell you a thing or a point or a specific fact, and I can be telling the truth. Honesty has everything to do with not omitting something, meaning I'm going to be honest and give you the whole explanation or all the details and not leave out anything. That will be called honesty. And when you put two together, you get transparency. And so when there's a lack of transparency, guess what ends up happening? There's broken trust. And now the other person has to spend a lot of their energy trying to wonder, are you telling the truth? Are you being honest? And the problem with that is that nobody wants to spend their relationship trying to figure out whether or not the person they're with is honest or not. Because lying continues to break the trust. Another reason broken trust happens in relationships is cheating. Now, cheating is typically connected to lying because when people cheat, they typically lie about it because they don't want the other person to find out because they don't want to face those consequences. And so the thing is that when you deal with somebody who lies, or you deal with somebody who's dishonest, or you deal with somebody who's cheating, then it's going to be very hard to trust that person ever again. But the question is, can the trust be rebuilt? And the answer is yes. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this workshop on the 20th. People need to understand there is a road back to trusting your significant other again. There is a road to trusting your husband or wife again. There is a road to trusting again, but that road is very narrow and it requires something from both parties. And I'm going to get into that on the 20th. But if you want your relationship to work, it's never going to happen until you rebuild the trust that was lost or broken. And so in this workshop, what I want to be able to do is give people tools and give people truth and give people the actual clues, well, not clues, the actual answers to how you actually reestablish trust and reestablish that trust so that your relationship can be strong again. Because some people will overlook what happened and then fake like they still trust their significant other or husband and wife, but all the while they really don't trust them anymore. And they hold on to the relationship hoping that they would one day get rid of that feeling in their stomach, that gut feeling to where it's like, I don't know if I can trust this person anymore. So let me say this again. You can rebuild trust in a relationship, but you need the tools to do it and you need to know how to do it. And that's what I'm going to be talking about on January 20th, 2024 at the Trust Building and Communication Workshop. So when people lie and when people cheat, those two things are one of the most important things that break the trust. And when the trust is broken, the psychology of the individual starts to collapse. And now you begin to deal with what we call post-traumatic stress disorder, or you began to deal with anxiety. You began to deal with paranoia, all these different type of psychological things that start to play out when you've been cheated on or when you've been lied to. Another way people break trust in relationships is secretism or keeping secrets, where a person will find out something that they didn't know and thought they should have known, and when they confront their significant other about it, what ends up happening is they give some type of reasoning that doesn't connect with the person who's been withheld from the secret. And so in their mind, well, why are you keeping secrets? Why wouldn't you tell me something like that? And regardless of their reasoning, regardless of why they say this, say the reason they kept the secret, the person who's on the other end of receiving this is going to struggle with trusting that person. This is how, see, the thing is, let me say this. When you lose trust in a relationship, or when you lose trust in a marriage, one of the first things you got to ask yourself is, how did we get here? Because when you get to the moment where you realize that you don't trust the person, then something has to tell you that, where did I go wrong, and where did I miss, or where did I neglect? Because the signs are there, we are just blind to them, and we don't find out till later. If you don't trust your significant other, and I mean really trust them, and you don't do anything to fix the broken trust, and you stay in that relationship, here's what's going to end up happening. You're going to start arguing more. There's going to start being a lot more paranoia. There's going to start being a lot more division. There's going to be a lot of animosity and frustration and letdowns and mishandled expectations. So on January 20th, I'm going to be teaching you how to rebuild trust one step at a time, because there is a pathway back to trusting one another. But you got to understand how to do it and how to go about it. So that's what I'm going to be talking about on January 20th. But let me talk about another thing. When trust is broken, the person who breaks the trust, or the person who does the behavior or the action that causes trust to be broken, you cannot do specific things like, for example, do I want to give away? Yeah, I can say this. What you don't want to do, if you're the one who broke the trust, is become deflective. That's a dangerous thing, and that's a dangerous game you're playing. Because deflection only makes you look even more guilty. Deflection only makes it even worse. And it makes the other person believe that there's more to it, even if there isn't more to it. So now you put yourself in an even worse position by deflecting instead of just dealing with the conversation. But I'm going to show you how to handle that on the 20th as well. Now, the thing is, when it comes to breaking trust, too many people oftentimes break trust and they don't do anything to repair the trust. Now, most people are not educated enough relationally on how to rebuild trust. So, what most people do is, this is what they do. Pay attention. Watch this. This is what people do when they don't trust their significant other. Because they don't know how to fix it, and because they don't know how to rebuild the trust, they resort to things such as, and I'm not judging anybody, because this is part of just the nature of humanity. You're doing everything you can to try to protect yourself. And so you start going through their phone. You start playing detective on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and Snapchat. You start trying to put clues together. You start trying to connect dots, and all you're doing is feeding more into the paranoia, and all you're doing is feeding more into the psychology of psyching yourself out. Because if you don't connect the dots right, you're going to set yourself even deeper in the mental game. And if you connect the dots right and they don't admit it, it's going to play even more psychological warfare, because you're going to believe that you figured it out, but because they're not telling the truth, now you're in deeper mentally, because it's like, man, I don't know what to believe. Did I figure it out? Did I not? So it becomes too much of a game. So listen to what I'm telling y'all. Think about this. How many couples are actually dealing with trust issues? Those who are watching, I want to ask y'all, in your humble opinion. You can type whatever you want in the chat, in the comment section. How many couples deal with trust issues in your humble opinion? How many couples, if you had to guess a number, how many couples do you think is actually dealing right now with trust issues? What number would you say if you had to put a number to it? 40%? Okay. See, now think about this. 40%, 50%. Now think about this. Out of 10 couples, that means 5 of them or 4 of them are dealing with trust issues. Now, out of that 50% or that 40%, those that answer the question, how many are actually getting help to fix it? Or do you think that they're trying to fix it on their own by doing the things I spoke of earlier? Going through phones, going through text messages, looking at phone call records, playing detective on Facebook, Instagram, IG, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. See, the thing is, when you get, see, and this is, matter of fact, let me switch subjects for a second. You got to start being a little bit more wise. To all my single people, listen, you got to start being a little bit wiser with your choices of whom you choose to be with. Um, One of the things I teach singles is how to vet people's mindsets. See, most singles, you vet their life. You vet in terms of where they work, where they drive, where they live, what they've done with their life. That's not how you vet a person. You don't vet a person based on their exterior life. That's not how you vet in the dating world. I'm gonna teach that another day. The thing is, you got to learn how to vet people. You got to learn how to vet people appropriately so that you can save yourself a lot of time and trouble in this dating world. But let me get back on subject because too many people hop in relationships and soon thereafter the trust is broken. Huh? Okay. Just got here. So the thing is, how do you vet a man? All right. So, well, Krista, you want me to answer that right now? How do you vet a man? Listen, vetting is the most important part of the process. Here's how you vet a man. I give you the first step to vetting a man. The number one way to vet a man. Oh man, Curtis, that's funny. Hey, hey, that's true too. Now, that's true too. The number one way to vet, now, I'm about to give you the answer. I'm about to give you the answer, but listen to what I'm about to say. Crystal, listen to what I'm about to say. I'm about to answer that question, but here's the reality. 99.9% of women will not do this. 99.9% of women will not do this. But this is the number one, this is the first step to vetting any man. This is the first step to vet any man. If a man is interested in you, the number, okay, the number one thing that a woman should do first is to present that man to her source of authority, meaning the man in her life who has authority over her life to speak into her life and protect her and guard her. So that should either be her father, her pastor, or her mentor. Now, keep in mind, the mentor cannot be your homeboy who is the same age as you who's single. Okay? That's not it. But the number one way you vet a man, the first thing you must do is this. Okay? Here's the first thing you do, because Krista, your question is a very legit question. But 99.9% of women is not going to do that. But the first thing a woman must do when a man is interested in her is present that man to her source of authority, which should be her father, her pastor, or her mentor slash counselor. A man who is watching over her life to guard her and protect her. Because women must be taken care of, women must be protected. That's why daughters are protected a little bit closer than sons. All right? Some women don't have a mentor or a father. Okay, this is part of the problem. So, Crystal, do you want me to go deeper on this? Matter of fact, I'm about to bring you on. You want to come on live and talk about this? Because you tapping into something. All right, so they're telling me to go deeper. So I'm gonna go deeper. The real problem with a lot of our women in our generation is you're not humble enough. So when I hear you say a lot of women don't have a mentor or a father, that's true. But also the problem is women oftentimes, not all, but many women oftentimes don't listen to wisdom. They do the very opposite because they are led by how they feel. And because they're led by how they feel, they make a lot of wrong decisions with men. Women can be very rebellious. Women can be very, very um, 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 rebellious, stubborn, because once they get attached emotionally or once they get something that they want, their desires take over and their emotions start to take over. So now keep in mind, this is not me trying to come down on women. I'm just answering the question. We often talk about how stubborn men are and how prideful men are. But let me tell you the opposite of it. As prideful and stubborn as men are, women lack humility and they don't listen. And they end up in situations that could have been prevented had they listened to the advice or the wisdom when it comes to men. So even if a woman doesn't have a mentor or a father, I'm pretty sure somewhere along the line, a mother figure, a grandma figure, a friend, a brother type person tried to warn them and tell them, don't do this. This is not a good guy. This is not a good man. And because they're going off how they feel, they disregarded the wisdom and the advice, and they ended up in a bad situation because 99.9% of women will not do what I just explained. They won't do it. And unfortunately, that's the sad part about it. I can't tell you how many women I've counseled in domestic violence situations. I can't tell you how many women I've tried to help out of bad relationships or prevent them from going into bad relationships and they did not listen. I tried to prevent them from going into marriages that was not going to work and they would not listen. So the reality is, um, what are women scared of? What are they very scared of? But see, I'm gonna wait for your answer on that. But when trust is broken, let me explain this. What you mean the man? Well, what does that mean? They're very scared, the man. When broken trust happens, the broken trust doesn't just come out of nowhere. You can see signs of when trust is going to be broken. You can see signs very early on in the relationship that the trust is going to be broken, because oftentimes trust comes in signals, and the broken trust comes in signals. And if you're not paying attention to the signs, then you're just going to end up in a relationship with broken trust because you didn't pay attention. And that's because people get blinded while in the relationship, or people blind themselves to realities and truth because of what they want so bad. They want that relationship so bad, they ignore the realities and the truth that's right in front of their face. And then the other issue is with broken trust. And I'm not talking about married people right now, I'm talking about just people in relationships who are not married. Instead of walking away, you try to convince that person to change or fix themselves so that you can trust them. And my question to that person is this: why are you asking somebody to stop doing bad things so that you can trust them? Think about this. Y'all, think about this. Think about this. If I gotta ask you to stop lying, what makes you think that that person is gonna just stop lying? If I gotta ask you or convince you to stop cheating, what makes you think that that person is just gonna stop cheating? Y'all, we gotta think, but we can't think because our emotions be too wrapped up in situations, and by then it's pretty much too late until you come out of your hypnosis of a relationship. Now, if you are already married, that's a whole different beast. But I'll say this: if you are already married, go get some marriage counseling. And the person who is still breaking the trust need to go get some therapy. But again, this goes back to what I spoke about last week: jumping in relationships and marrying people who didn't get help or counseling before you got married. Now, after you get married, you're trying to get them to go get help. Good luck. Because who you are before you get married is probably who you're going to be after you get married, unless you decide to change. And that's just the reality. The man you married, the woman you married, is who they are, and probably 9 times out of 10, outside of the anomalies or the exceptions to the rule, that's who they were before you married them. And if you marry somebody who don't want to improve, who don't want to get no help, who don't want to get better, who don't want to go to marriage counseling, don't want to go to relationship counseling, they're good luck trying to get them to go afterwards. And right now, there are many women and many men in relationships and marriages right now complaining about their significant other, hoping and wishing they would change. And I'm telling you, you need a character shift, and you need moral. Listen, let me say it this way: unless your character and integrity changes, that person is not going to change for the better. Because in order to become a better person, you have to gain different character. You have to build different integrities and morals and values and principles. When trust is broken, it can be rebuilt, but you need to know how to do it. And oftentimes, people will try to fix their relationship themselves. But guess what? If their kitchen sink broke, if their toilet broke, if their car broke, if their TV broke, all the things they don't know how to fix, they wouldn't try to fix that themselves. They would go get outside help. But when it comes to relationships, people are so prideful and stubborn. So many people are trying to fix their own relationships instead of getting professional help, instead of getting help from somebody who can actually help them, and their relationship is suffering because of it. So on January the 20th, I'm hosting a trust building and communication workshop. for couples and married couples. Make sure you register. The link is in the post that I'm live on right now. Click that link, go register. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you and train you on rebuilding trust that was broken based on lies, deception, betrayal, a lack of boundaries, financial betrayal, disrespect, lack of communication, secrets, infidelity, deception, etc. I'm going to use all of that and show you. I'm going to show you how to rebuild it. But listen, let me say this before I hop off. I've been doing this for a long time. And I've seen a lot of people in relationships continue to struggle. I mean, just continue to struggle. I mean, just over and over and over. I have clients, listen, a lot of my clients, I'll say it this way because I want to make sure you hear the heart behind it and not just truth. A lot of my clients, they struggle relationally because of one major reason. They won't look in the mirror. And see, oftentimes, when you feel like something is wrong with your significant other, the truth is there's something wrong with you. And as much as we hate the truth and we hate the reality, I am telling you, I have been doing this for a long time, and I've seen it time and time again where people are not aware of how much of a problem they actually are in their own relationship. So here's what I want you to do. If you're in a relationship, if you're married, I need you to do one thing for me. I need you to actually look in the mirror and ask yourself, if I'm having a problem in this relationship, it's easy for me to look at the other person and say, you know what, you're the problem. But ask yourself, where do you come in as part of the problem? Where do you come in as part of the problem? All right, make sure y'all register for the Trust Building Workshop, January 20th, 2024. See y'all soon. I'm out of here.